You're listening to the Awkward Hi-5 podcast. You can follow along in your book. You'll know it's time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this.
What did you find out at the weigh station?
My cruiser weighs 16,000 kilograms.
I just got off the phone with Tom Mercado from the budget committee. This thing with Farver's screwed up, Pooch.
What? They can't lump us in with that fucking Martian.
We're all in the same boat, fellas.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really. Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hey, Farva, what's the name of that restaurant you like with all the goofy shit on the walls and the mozzarella sticks? You mean shenanigans? Oh!
And I feel that the time's a ways to go.
One of the originators.
Where you headed for tomorrow? Welcome to the Awkward Hi-5 podcast. My name is Devin.
And I'm Ritchie.
How you feeling today, Richard?
I'm pretty sad about the death of little Scott.
Are you?
Yeah.
Did it hit you hard?
Well, not so much because I love Scott, because I'm worried about this ticker right here.
Well, he was 48.
Yeah.
You're only 35.
Yeah, it's quick, almost 10 years away.
You know what's weird is when I saw that he was 48 for some reason, I thought that was like, I thought he should have been older. I don't know why now I'm putting those 90's guys in an older age bracket than they really should be, but I was like surprised that he was like okay, for instance, like Joey Cape from Lagwagon is like, I think he's 47, 48, but it feels like he would be younger than Scott. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't.
Well, they were a 90's band.
No,
too,
you're right.
it.
Yeah, but I just don't think. For some reason, I think of like Stone Temple Pilots and Nirvana and the 90's kind of things as older guys. You know. Mm-hmm. Like, how old is Chris Novoselic? I would have thought he was like in his 50s, but I guess he's not.
He was an older dude for the time.
Oh, you're right, because Dave Grohl
was like younger.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
He was like 19 when he joined Nirvana.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But yeah, like the 90's dudes that were famous in the 90's could have only been 10 years older than us, like at a minimum.
Yeah, right.
If we were teenagers in the 90's, they were in their 20s, and that's when you're usually.
Yeah, it makes sense. If Kurt was 27 when he killed himself in 1994,
we were 14, so we don't be the same
94.
Age as,
same age as Weiland.
He'd
be 48. Yeah, he'd be the same thing. Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Where do you put Stone Temple Pilots on? In case you don't go on social media and haven't heard of this by now, Scott Weiland, is it Weiland or Weiland or
it's Weiland?
Yeah, it's Weiland, right? Yeah. The lead singer of the old Stone Temple Pilots, and then he was in some stupid super group too that I don't know, but
Velvet Revolver.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Velvet Underground.
I almost did.
That is sweet.
I almost did. Which is corny because Velvet Revolver is almost like
Guns N' Roses.
It almost is. Yeah.
It's just it's a better gun to hold.
It's a different material.
And wasn't that? Wait, yeah. So I get that. You know what? I get those bands confused. I get. There was a band with him in it, and then there was a band with the Soundgarden guy with Rage Against the Machine. Which one was Velvet?
Audio Slave.
Oh, okay, that's Rage Against the Machine. Guns N' Roses, Stone Temple Pilots is Velvet Revolver, and Rage Against the Machine, Soundgarden is Audio Slave. Yeah, and they came out at the same time. It was very confusing, and it's all butt rock that who the hell would listen to anyway.
I actually think Audio Slave was a better band than Soundgarden. They had some good songs.
Yeah, I mean, Rage Against the Machine is an amazing band, so you know, I guess, but like they didn't sound like Rage Against the Machine, right? Then weren't they all just like kind of 4/4, like down.
Yeah, it was just like a Rage Against the Machine with
Chris Cornell.
Yeah, a singer. You know?
Where do you put Scott? Where do you put Stone Temple Pilots and Scott Weiland in the pantheon of 90's music?
Well, it's weird because all those bands mixed together. but I think of like two different categories. You know what I mean? You have like, even though it's all Seattle based, you know,
Is that where Stone Temple
No,
Pilots
I
is
think
from?
they were Cali.
Okay, well,
But
whatever.
West Coast, yeah. So you got like the Nirvana and the Mudhoney's, and then you have the Pearl Jam and the Stone Temple Pilots.
Right.
And that could have a lot to do with the voice, you know, because Vedder being the originator.
Well, do you remember when Stone Temple Pilots came out? Everyone just said that they were biting off of Pearl Jam because
I thought it was Pearl Jam.
Because Pearl Jam, yeah. If you didn't know any better and you heard it on the radio, because Pearl Jam was new enough that people didn't know that much about them, and then Stone Temple Pilots came out, and you heard that like that shit, and you're like, oh, it's just another Pearl Jam song. We got shit for that for a while, actually.
Yeah. So then I put the Pearl Jams and the Stone Temple Pilots in like in another side group. But for me, it always went Pearl Jam, then Stone Temple Pilots. Even though I kind of like Stone Temple Pilots a little bit more. I think that was more grittier.
Then Pearl Jam.
Grittier, absolutely.
Yeah,
more rockin'.
I'm not the world's biggest STP fan. I do think the DeLeo brothers, who wrote all those songs and now they're producers and shit, I think they're pretty genius.
Yeah. Who was that? The guitar player and the drummer, or the guitar player?
I believe
and the
it was
bassist?
the guitar player and the bassist.
Was it?
I know for sure it was the
guitar player,
and then I'm pretty sure it was the bassist. And they wrote all those songs. I think Scott like wrote the words and maybe the melodies and shit. But they were like, they were the guys writing the fucking songs. And I that first album, Core, was it? That's the one with like Creep and all that stuff on it. It's okay. I'm not a big. It's a little too like heavy. It's a little too like kind of Soundgarden-ish, like teetering on metal a little too much for me, or at least for me back then. But their next album, the one after that, the one with
Purple,
Flies in the Lasso and that shit, and Interstate Love Song. Those are really well written songs. It's not something that I'm going to sit around and listen to. But I would listen to that before I would say listen to like let's say Alice in Chains or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot they were a Seattle group. Yeah.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because I read a little thing that Billy Corgan wrote today about Scott Weiland.
Where were the Pumpkins from? I feel like they were like from Chicago or some random
think they
shit.
were exactly. I think they were from Chicago.
Were they?
Yeah. But he wrote this whole thing, and it's it's just Billy Corgan being pretentious like he normally is, like trying to use big words and sound like a poet and shit. And I'm not busting Billy Corgan's balls because I'm actually a big Smashing Pumpkins fan. I like them a lot. But Billy Corgan in his older age it's pretty much like as soon as he lost the hair, he like started becoming like a prick.
When did he have hair? He had hair.
Oh yeah, do you remember the whole Siamese Dreams thing? He had he had
the
boy
90s
thing. And even before that in Gish he had like long
mushroom
hair. Yeah. It was like the Tonight era is when he started shaving down or whatever.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? He wrote this thing, and he was saying it was nice enough. It was basically saying how him and Scott they didn't know each other too well, and when they first came out, he didn't like them because he thought they were like a Pearl Jam ripoff. But now he's saying that he did appreciate him, and when he went back and listened to music, he liked it more. But then he said that out of all the voices, all his contemporaries in the 90s, of all the voices from that 90s era.
The voices.
Just the voices in general,
okay.
So all the lead singers, of that era, he considered Scott Weiland, Lane Staley, and Kurt Cobain to be like the three, like I guess if there was four, the Mount Rushmore of those. Which is kind of weird to me because I don't know if I know people fucking love Alice in Chains. I never really got it.
Yeah, I never got into them either.
I like that one song, though. Am I wrong?
Oh, yeah. On the single soundtrack.
Yeah, that song is fucked.
That single soundtrack was amazing.
I got way too into rocking out the Alice in Chains and almost broke my iPad.
I thought you pulled out the Weiland arm and started going to town.
I am.
I recently watched a video of one of STP's like last concerts, and it was kind of depressing because you have. I mean, I could see wanting to play music your whole entire life, but when your fans get old, that must really suck,
Yeah. I had no idea that loop was still going on. So.
Just play it.
Yeah, well, wasn't he not? You're talking about the last STP thing?
Yeah.
Not like his.
Not with Chester or whatever.
Oh, yeah, and that's another thing. I'm finding out so much today from reading about all this, but yeah, apparently Stone Temple Pilots went on with the guy from Linkin Park.
Which is weird because he doesn't sound like Weiland, but he fucking looks like him.
Yeah, I can see that.
Even though I don't know if he's, into the sandwiches per se, but I know he's got that look.
Yeah,
right. He looks like shit.
No, I think those Linkin Park dudes are I think they're just business.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're probably eating meth.
There's I've never and I'm not going to try to sit here and like bust on bands, because look, if you worked hard enough in a band that you made it to a point where you have a fan base and people are giving you money for your music, good for you.
I think Linkin Park has the most fans out of any of those bands. Well, they're like the biggest.
I do not get it.
I don't get it either. I don't get that whole 99 to 2002 rap rock, exactly.
Or
like
mall
Bizkit,
metal rap rock.
Linkin Park, Kid Rock. That's such a weird time in music that was, but
it is the worst time in music ever.
Yeah,
ever made. And the craziest thing about it is that it came off of one of the best eras of music. The late 80s, early 90s, punk, grunge, rock music kind of movement that was going on was the best shit that's happened since the 70s. And then all of a sudden, and so it was like, great, here comes the 90s, this fucking rules. And then by 96, 97, we started getting into those, like you said, like those fucking crazy 3-11 and
so weird.
All that shit. And it's
weird.
Like, how did this turn into this? But the weirdest thing to me are the people that followed that. So like the people that in 92 were listening to Nirvana, then all of a sudden in 98 were listening to like fucking Limp Bizkit or something like that. Like that would be like completely switching genres of music. I guess there's people out there that just hear like heavy guitar and be like, okay, this is heavy. You know what I mean?
Or it's that same old story about you just like what you're exposed to.
Yeah.
You don't care enough to look for good bands, and when you turn on Z100, you're like, oh, I hear this 10 times a day. It must be awesome.
Right.
But yeah, then you got that like bucket full of bands that got huge, but you don't really know about them, but you heard them on the radio a million times. I don't know the names of any of them, but it was just like that rap metal.
That thing was huge.
Guess, it's just so weird. Like System of a Down and like Static X.
Yeah, like those.
I couldn't like sing a song, but
Disturbed,
I know.
Right, was one of them. Was it Disturbed? Is the band, right?
Yeah. And then you got Creed, who like took the voice of the 90s and just made
the Eddie Vedder voice.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, look, they all have fucking fans. I don't know. I never got it. That was way too in the stratosphere as far as like what I affectionately call butt rock, but some people call it dad rock. Some people, whatever you want to call it,
college rock.
Well, not college. When I think of college rock, I think of like
Tonic.
No, I think of like earlier shit, like the Dead Milkmen and REM and like the cool shit.
That's giving it a lot of credit. I think of like OAR and Tonic and
I guess later on
shit that girls listen to.
Dave Matthews Band.
I
have a good college rock band for you. Sublime. That's
Sublime,
a
Sublime. But a lot of people like Sublime, because they could go from college to stoner to like surfer.
I guess never was a fan of them either.
But yeah, that's totally college. It's just it's weird. It's a weird phenomenon. Like music changing genres and. People taking influence from other musicians and making their own style of music.
It's always going to just spiral forward, and just sometimes it just bounces off into this really bad caveat that you might not even recognize. You might not recognize why you're in it, and then sometimes you look back, and I've done it, like I'm not going to sit here and act like my musical taste is the greatest thing in the world, but there's some bands that I might have listened to when I was, 17 or 18 years old, and I look back at it now, and I'm like, how did I ever fucking even listen to them? Like, how did I not recognize how corny this music was, And I guess you get swept up in it.
The only time I actually think like that is when I put on really shitty punk rock, and I'm like, why did I play this record? Like the Casualties?
No, don't run down the Casualties.
I'm sorry, but I'll put on a Casualty song and I'm like, when did I bob my head to this? What was I doing?
What's that one band that we used to listen to? And FYP. Do you remember them?
Terrible.
It was
horrible. Just like 15-year-old kids breaking their instruments.
And they can't. Yeah, they didn't play. There was no rhythm to it at all. Like the drummer didn't play in time. Everything was out of tune. But we would listen to that album all the time. Because there was like a cool factor to it when we were children. So
like the sloppier the better.
Yeah, we didn't fucking know. Mm-hmm. And I much rather would have listened to that than the let's play to a metronome and have
Nickelback
or whatever.
Yeah,
the Nickelback thing. I know people love to fucking make fun of Nickelback, but they're so like to me they're so far out there. Like as far as
like arena rock,
that it's like almost non-make funnable. They know they are what they are. They've never pretended to be anything else but that, as far as I know, because I don't know that much about them. You know what I'm saying? Like I think bands like I always bring up 311 because I dislike them so much personally.
You hate them that much?
I can't stand it. I think it's my contention that they wrote the worst song ever written, ever.
Which one? Down, down, down?
Yeah. It's the worst song ever written. Congratulations! What? Some yummy, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that one is pretty bad.
It is horrible. I know
a couple goodies.
I know they have like some chill songs like The Emperor is that shit or whatever. And I guess I could give them, but just the fact that they
dreamy rock.
Just the fact that they released that Poison. And to me, when we talk about rap rock Poison into the system of music, when we talk about rap rock, like mall metal rap rock, butt rock kind of shit, Down by 311 to me is the poster child of it. That's the number one thing.
The biggest thing that bothered me about that's it. The biggest thing that bothered me about 311 was the fact that they had a band, then they had a dude who just kind of sat like not in the front of the stage, not in the back of the stage, but kind of in the middle behind the singer and rapped when needed.
Yeah, right. Just like Linkin Park.
Like, what the fuck did he do when it wasn't rap time? Like that. That whatever that kid from Linkin Park who ended up being like the famous one, but he just wore his headphones and rapped when needed, and that's a punch in the face.
So that's not so on Down the singer and the rapper aren't the same person. That's two different people.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, the singer 311
doesn't make it any better.
He's like the singer, like the chiller dude, and then all of a sudden you get this dude acting like Fred Durst in the back. Like, congratulations.
Who says congratulations? Because I want to find him in murder.
The rapper says
congratulations.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh my
God,
him. I can't stand it. I can't stand that song. It's the worst song ever written. And I know people love 311. They have March 11th every year is 311 Day. And
really?
Yeah, people freak out, and that's fine. And if you're listening to this and you like 311. I'm not saying anything about you and your character, but I'm just personally believe that song is the worst song ever written. The worst song, one of the most damaging songs. I actually got shit from my little Joe Buck thing that last episode. Yeah,
there's some Buck fans out there.
There's a Buck fan on Twitter that was hitting me up, and he was like, he seems like a cool enough guy. It seems like he's a friend of friends, or whatever. And he was like, whatever. It wasn't a real thing, but he was just saying like, yo, your opinion of Joe Buck sucks. And I did not know that there was this giant movement against Joe Buck. I was just saying
against Joe Buck.
Yeah, like apparently, like if you Google Joe Buck sucks,
there's like
there's like fucking there's like web pages like devoted to this guy's horrible. I had no idea of that. I knew that he was annoying, but I only knew that from watching the World Series. I don't watch football. So apparently, that's what Joe Buck is like. He does.
Oh,
right?
Football? I thought he was a baseball dude.
No, I think he does Fox.
Oh, okay.
And I think he does more football because the only time I ever see him on baseball is on the World Series.
Oh, really?
So to me, Joe Buck is in my life 4 to 7 nights a year, and I'm just there. And every time I've ever seen him, it's like, wow, this guy's annoying. His voice is annoying. He's kind of pompous. That was my whole thing. I had no idea that there was legions of Buck haters. So yeah, he hit me up and he set me straight. So I apologize for that. I'm sorry. I will never a bad word about Buck will come out of my mouth again. But I also did have some people hit me up through email and be like, I agree with what you're saying about Buck. I didn't know that there was that big of a fucking thing going on. I don't know.
Well, he is a little worm. He deserves it.
So you never answered the question though. So where do you put
STP in the lineage of 90s grunge?
Let's choose 5 bands. Let's choose the top 5 bands. So obviously Nirvana.
Right, but that's my thing is that I don't put Nirvana in the grunge category.
I know, and you shouldn't, but for the sake of this argument, you kind of have to.
Okay, then Nirvana's number 1.
Well, let's just choose 5. So Nirvana, Pearl Jam, definite, right? Uh-huh. We're gonna have to put STP for this case.
Yep.
Then let's say Alice in Chains, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then what would be the 5th?
For grunge,
Soundgarden. They were like more of a metal band, but
right, they were just such a huge part of that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's rank them then. Where do you go from
those 5 in ranking?
Yeah.
Nirvana number 1,
obviously.
Number 2. It's even though I kind of put them in a class of their own, but number 2 for me is gonna have to be Pearl Jam.
Okay.
Then STP.
Got it.
Then Alice in Chains. Then Soundgarden.
Yeah. Yep. You know what? I would love to disagree with you, but I think I'm exactly the same. I was gonna switch Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, but I'm more apt to listen to Alice in Chains.
Me too.
And just that one song.
That's the struggle I went through in that decision making. But it's like, will I ever listen to Soundgarden? Nope.
And that's another thing, man. I've said that. I think I've like said something before on Facebook about like Soundgarden, and people were like, you got to be kidding me. They're the best. People are obsessed with Soundgarden.
Yeah, because of him, because of his voice. But I can't listen to that voice for more than a minute.
I think looking back,
make my teeth hurt.
I think looking back at it, we identify with that era of music because we were the prime age for that era of music. But I don't think me and you were so much like into the whole grunge rock scene as we were into the punk scene. Obviously, we were more into the underground, for lack of a better word, punk bands at the time. So I think we hold so much stock in Nirvana and we love them so much. But that doesn't mean that translates to all those other bands. Like you might have fond memories of those other bands, but that wasn't really our thing. Our thing was a totally different set of music that Nirvana kind of fit into because they were essentially a punk band, you know.
And don't forget, that's also the same time that Radiohead came out, and that early Radiohead shit before they got all like dropping a coin in a glass of water and calling it art. Before that whole shit happened. I thought they were fucking great.
They were great.
Yeah.
That first, well, I like all the Radiohead albums, even when they are fucking, just taking fucking chords out of a switchboard, like an old 50s fucking Mad Men telephone operator or whatever. But fucking, but yeah, like there's not a Radiohead album that I don't like. I like them all. Sometimes the weirder the better for me. But that first album, Pablo Honey, if you like, I don't think a lot of people listen to that album because they don't consider it to be the Radiohead. It's kind of like a precursor. I mean, obviously it has Creep on there, but like a lot of the other. But if you listen to that album is fucking really good. It's a solid rock album. It might not be
rocking.
It might not be the OK Computer or Kid A, Radiohead that everyone loves, but it's as far as a solid 90s rock album goes.
And another 90s thing is Sunny Day Real Estate came out in the 90s, and they were a grunge sub pop band.
Yeah, that was.
But to me, that's the beginning of emo.
Sure, and to a lot of people, it is. Totally. Yeah. Well, let me give you another band that came out in the '90s and was kind of mushed into all that, but doesn't fit into any of that, and probably fits closer with Sunny Day Real Estate is Weezer.
Oh right, but where? Oh, they're definitely a California band. They got to be.
Yeah,
like
I think they're straight out of LA. Yeah. But
they don't fit into any of that.
Right.
But, yeah, that Sweater song went right up there with all those grunge songs in the 90s.
Yeah, I think the Blue Album came out in what, 90?
The same day as Versus.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And fucking, and yeah, so it's weird. You look back at all those bands and you want to lump them into one thing, but it's really hard to, because Nirvana and Weezer and Pearl Jam, that's the main thing. Pearl Jam and Nirvana are always linked together, and there are two completely different bands. Oh, you know what? Now we're talking about this. I found out the other night that our friend, a close friend of ours, he was at Saturday Night Live, the episode when Kurt shot himself and Pearl Jam went on there and played "This Is Not For You" and Eddie Vedder opened up his shirt and he had the K on his shirt. He was at that fucking, and he didn't know we were talking about it. And he was talking about it, and he's like, yeah, I went to...
So he got to see Geek Dweeber Spaz live?
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He saw Geek Dweeber. Yeah, and I was like, holy shit. And then I was like, if you guys don't know, we're listening it's an old David Spade sketch that me and Richie used to do our whole life. And it's
still do.
Yeah, it's just it's David Spade doing a fucking a lisp, and it's just whatever. But yeah, that's the episode, which is nuts. He was like, when I think of Saturday Night Live shit, I think of that episode, and he was one of our friends was actually there in the audience.
That's awesome.
It's crazy, right? Well, anyway, R.I.P. Scott Weiland.
Yeah.
It's a shame when anybody from that, when anybody that you listen to or enjoyed their art dies, it's a shame.
And it sucks because, as soon as Scott Weiland died, everyone's like, oh, drug addict.
Oh, right.
I mean, he had cardiac arrest, which is probably due to, ruining your body your whole life, know. But who knows? Maybe he ate too many cheesesteaks, like maybe he had high blood pressure.
I don't know. That dude was like 90 pounds. So
I know. That was another sad thing about that last video I seen. Like, he's up at the microphone trying to do his like snake moves, but he's just all like rickety and crooked, and his shirt is so big on him, and his pants are falling off because he's like 80 pounds.
Yeah, right.
Sucks.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
I mean, the guy put a lot of good art into the world, and he did lead a rough life, and I mean, he made it to 48. He made it a lot longer than a lot of people do that are in that predicament. So,
yeah, exactly.
You know, it's a shame either way, but we move on, I suppose.
And as far as music's concerned, what else was he going to come? He wasn't going to come out with anything. He was going to play Plush until he died at 70. You know.
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean that he shouldn't.
Not as a person, you know what I mean? As an artist,
yeah,
let's
right.
say.
No,
you know,
I
because I don't know him as a person. I know him as you know, one of the originaters.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I don't know what his voice sounds like in real life.
Yeah.
I just know that voice.
Well, I mean, but you know, if Kurt Cobain stopped making music after In Utero, I'd still like him to be alive and maybe making out with Michael Stipe someplace or something right now. You know what I mean?
They probably would have came out with another 2 albums at least.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
If he wasn't a drug addict.
Yeah. No, totally.
You know.
Well, I don't know.
Yep, that's the scene.
So, Richard, something that a lot of people don't know about us that we don't talk about a lot, but both me and you hold doctorates in quantum physics. You know, with an emphasis on subatomic particles.
I graduated top of my class.
Yeah, right. And I wanted to ask you, when you first started your hypothesis on string theory, were you like a holy shit?
Whoa!
Holy shit!
The fuck was that?
What was that? Is that a brick?
I don't know. I think a bird flew through the window. Or something.
No, that looks like a brick, dude. Holy shit! Someone just threw a brick through our window. Hang on for a second. I'm gonna go take a look at this.
Fucking hooligans.
Dude, there is a brick on the floor. Wait, what's it? It's got a note tied to it.
No.
Yeah, somebody did. Oh man, this isn't even. Holy shit, dude. This isn't
ransom note.
This isn't even our studio. Someone just threw a brick through the window of our studio. Hey, let me get this note going here. Oh my god.
What does that shit say?
Holy shit. Dear AHI5.
Oh, stalkers.
Well, that's good. There might be a fan letter.
All right. I'm all breaking windows.
You prick fucks. Oh no. You prick fucks. When I first turned down being a guest on your pathetic excuse for a podcast, I thought I got my point across. I think I know who this is. But no, you had to go and open your big fat loser mouth and blab about it on air. Holy shit. All right, there's more. Grave mistake, gentlemen, for on this day you have made a powerful enemy. Like Superman's Lex Luthor or that creep from Inspector Gadget that always beat up his cat but somehow never got shit from the ASPCA.
Psycho.
I will devote my every waking moment to the ultimate demise of the AHI5 podcast. You, Devin Ferry. Oh, very mature.
Yeah,
very mature.
Very original.
And and especially that whiny little dirt merchant RTG. What is this?
I'll accept that.
Oh, wait, there's more. There's more.
Very accurate.
Awkward high five? More like time to die, guys. Well, that doesn't even make any sense.
I mean,
it could be a little bit more clever than that. And then it says, moi, oh, and in parentheses it says, say that like an evil laugh. So, moi,
is that done with the wacky typewriter?
No, it's very bad penmanship, I'll say that much.
All right.
And then, sincerely, your arch nemesis, the KGB. Richard, I can't.
The Rushkeys are after us?
We can't go up against the KGB. I don't even fucking.
I ain't even going up against Putin's nipples.
The KG. Oh, wait a second. There's no G there.
Yeah, there's no G in there.
Oh, it says, sincerely, your arch nemesis, the KB.
We know who that is.
Oh, wait. But that's kind of vague because that could be his sister.
Oh, true.
Oh, no, but look, in parentheses underneath that, it says, the male KB. I guess he knew that we might think that it's his sister. Dude.
What's he came down here just to stalk us?
I think we have an arch nemesis on our hands here.
I think so.
He just broke the window at our Awkward High Five studios.
I'm definitely scared because a ginger arch nemesis is more scary than any other arch nemesis.
Holy shit. This is some serious shit. We're 21 episodes in and we already have an arch nemesis to the show?
There was either this or a lawsuit was bound to happen, so I'll take this over the lawsuit.
Yeah, but time to die, guys? Just because we asked him to be on the show and then he turned it down?
Well, maybe he's trying to get on the show in an evil way.
No, man, this looks like this is war, Richard.
Yeah, war
what I'm reading here is a declaration of war by somebody that used to be a close friend of us. Hates our podcast. This hurts a little bit.
Let the games begin.
Oh, man. What do?
We start a war.
Oh, you're looking to go?
Yeah, let's do
You're
it.
looking to get firearms or anything?
I already got it.
Well, man,
I got to clip up.
the only thing that I could hope is that this doesn't become a reoccurring theme on our show. That the KB is now the arch nemesis. And I just hope that maybe he doesn't keep popping up every once in a while and causing ruckus for us during this awkward high five podcast.
I know. Well, I'm just going to clip up and hope for the best.
Do you still have your Tech 9?
Oh, absolutely.
Trying to take mine?
Absolutely.
Man, what are we going to do about this window?
I don't know.
And even
Plastic bag it.
even more than that, what are we going to do about this draft now that the window's broken? I'm getting a little cold up in here. I never expected this to happen. An enemy of the Awkward High Five podcast.
Yeah, he's going to have to feel the wrath.
Calling RTG a dirt merchant.
Yeah, well, he wasn't the first.
I don't know why we're laughing so much. I'm scared shitless inside right now. Note to ourselves, next time we ask somebody to be on the show and they say no, don't ever bring it up.
Yeah, no.
I can't afford another one from this.
Can't afford another window.
Certainly can't. We don't have jobs. We don't have any income.
Just tape it. Get the tape.
Can you afford a window by doing free podcasts for people?
Probably not. All right, we're just going to have to go into battle with them, I guess.
I guess so, man. I have no idea. Well, you wanted to tell a story, Richard, of when you were young.
Oh, shit. I'll just go right into it.
I had nowhere to go with that.
Yeah, I guess I have to now.
I fucking I established the fact of our arch nemesis, and I don't know what to say. I guess I could say I'm scared.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry if we wronged you. If there's any way that we can make a peaceful resolution to this, because I don't want an arch nemesis.
Yeah, and I guess I could just say he was totally accurate with the dirt merchant comment. Because yeah, I've definitely been hearing it quite often. Definitely heard it the other night when I was telling an old story. Because I guess a little bit of a dirt merchant, a little bit of a deviant. So I'm talking with the girl.
A little bit of
telling her a story because we joke around a little bit.
Wait, I'm sorry. I talked over you. You're talking to your girlfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
And so we joke around, and I just fuck around a lot. So I in my older years, I've cut all the shame out of my game and just tell stories without even thinking of what someone may think or anything.
Yeah, I know you do that because you do it on this show to hundreds of people. And I'm in awe.
So might as well add another one to the list. Because I know she gets a kick out of it, so I hope maybe others will. So she's asked me why I'm such a deviant, and I tell her it all stems back to maybe when I was like 3 years old. And I remember this story because when I was moving out of the house I grew up in, we were packing up old shit. And my grandmother had this doll, and it was so cute. It was definitely the cutest thing ever.
Oh my God.
I never named her. Never named her, but it was definitely my first girlfriend ever. She wore this little purple dress, and her white yarn hair blew in the breeze. And it not only was it a doll, it was a music box. So when you twisted the little thing in the back, she played this sweet, sweet tune, and her head bobbed back. And I think this is where it all started, because while the tune played, her head circled, and it was a little bit broken.
What do you mean circled? Like Exorcist?
Not completely around 360, kind of like if you're trying to crack your neck and just, unwind the stress from a long day.
I just did it.
You know what I'm talking
and
about?
it felt good.
And it was a little bit broken, so when her head got to like the back corner, it would kind of like throw it back. She'd kind of throw her head back as if I was, doing the work to her. So I don't know.
What kind of fucking analogy is that?
I don't know. I'm trying not to be too vulgar, you know what I mean? I don't want people to get the wrong idea.
You meant fucking.
Yes, but you have to understand, and I'm sure all the guys can relate, when you're a young kid, you do weird shit. You do weird shit. This is probably the least weirdest shit, because at least it was kind of on a human level. Because kids do weird shit like stick their dick in shampoo bottles and shit like that, like touch surfaces with.
And by kids, you mean 35-year-old men.
Yes. You know what I mean? You try and see how many different things you could touch with your dick. But at least she was a girl and a doll. And, she had white hair, sweet yarn. And she wore like this little hat that would fall off when her head bent back to the corner.
And I think you put it back on.
No, the hat would fall off. I would just throw that shit away. I'd put it on later. But I really got into this doll. And I couldn't wait to visit Grandma and Grandpa's house every weekend because I knew I'd get to visit my girlfriend. And I look forward to it. And maybe I did name her. I just can't remember because I would think I would name her unless I just kept her nameless. But she was so hot. And I couldn't wait to see her. So what I used to do is when I used to go over to Grandma and Grandpa's, it's the first thing I would do. And I think they knew what I was doing. Just no one would say anything to me. And just like, at least I wasn't like playing with guy dolls. But I would run into my grandma's room, grab this doll, and I would jump behind her bed with the doll. And I rub it on myself going, sex me, sex me, sex me. That was my first sexual experience.
So would you, how old were you now?
Like 3, 4.
And wow, that's pretty progressive that you even knew what sex me was.
Well, I didn't know what I didn't know what sex, probably didn't know what sex was until I had it. Cause I thought guys just laid on top of girls like in a perfect laying motion. I didn't know the legs spread open.
You know what I thought was, and I think, not to get away from your story, believe me, we're gonna get back to this immediately. No, I have some probing questions that I need to ask to get into.
Inside the mind of RTG.
You know what I was thinking? I think those trumpets are from Field of Dreams.
Are they?
I think so.
I mean, I don't know who the voice for all these drops are, but it's sexy. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, yeah, what I used to think sex was when I was a kid was because I used to think that people did it standing up and that the girl's vagina hole
was in the front.
Like if you were to chop off a penis where that hole would be right there, then that's what you did. That's what I thought.
You're starting to get into the psyche now.
Okay.
You're understanding where it all comes from.
So little 3-4-year-old RTG in love with I'm just going to say flirtatious little doll at his grandparents' house because it seemed like she was asking for it.
Yeah, she was a little seductress. She was with that head motion.
And you would sit home
and she smelled like grandma's sweet perfume.
And you would sit home and think to yourself like, oh man, I can't wait to go see my girl.
Could not wait. Would dream of her.
And then you'd
like if I had a picture, I actually looked it up on the internet to see if I could find it. I typed in like yarn hair dolls that were music boxes. There were some lookalikes, but none would compare.
Wow, Sinead O'Connor style. I'm stunned by this. I
thought you knew this.
If you told me
got to this depth, probably.
If you told me this, I don't remember it because when you said the sex me part, I fell off my. Number one, the whole time you're telling that story, I was just rubbing my eyes, fucking crying. And so you would do this in front of your parents?
No, I would jump behind the bed. Like the bed was kind of like, you know, the door. There was a door. Then you come to the room and the bed's coming out of the wall. So like, you know, little me, I could just jump behind the bed and you wouldn't see me. But I'd be like, you know, do a couple sex me's, then peek up. Couple sex me's, peek up, see if anyone was coming.
Yeah, your family definitely knew what was going on.
They
were probably just like, Richie's fucking the doll.
I came out to like a lunch afterwards. Like,
you come out smoking a cigarette. Like, yeah. So what's going on, dudes? Wow, that is definitely fucking interesting.
I had to let it out. I had to.
And you don't know whatever happened to this doll?
No, it was packed away, and I think it's either thrown out or stored away or somewhere, but I'll find her again.
Do you think, let me ask you a question here. Do you think that that doll, that the way that doll looked molded the way that you were attracted to women later on in life at all?
Probably not.
Really?
Because if it did, then I'd probably be into whiter chicks.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Because I remember being younger and being really fucking attracted to Rainbow Bright. Mm-hmm. When I'm like, again.
Oh, there you go. Freckles and red hair.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. And so I remember at a very, very young age, probably the same age, 3 or 4 or 5, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing pictures of Rainbow Bright, whether it was on
She was cute.
On TV or something like that. And that was the first time that I ever had those feelings. Like I didn't know what they were, obviously.
Sexy feelings.
Yeah, I didn't go as far as getting Rainbow Bright doll and fucking it, but
I didn't buy the doll. It was there. We met by consequence.
But yeah, I remember that being like one of the first things that I was attracted to, and then I grew up to be somebody for some strange reason who's just crazy attracted to redhead girls.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, they say that all comes from your, they say like if you're like a boob guy or like an ass guy or shit like that. Like they say that all comes from whatever you're exposed to before you ever even knew, They say, what's interesting that they say? They say that people with feet fetish, they say that is from them as babies crawling on the floor and only being able to see their mother's,
that makes
their
plenty
mother's
of sense.
feet.
Yeah,
isn't that, so like that kind of thing.
I don't get the whole foot thing.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I'm not a big fan of it.
No.
But there is a lot of people out there with feet fetish. I mean, every fetish, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I guess that all comes from that. But I've never had that experience. And I commend you for telling that on this show.
Oh, I don't care. I tell every girlfriend. They get a kick out of it. But yeah, because if that was true, then I'd be looking for girls with white yarn hair.
Yeah, well,
and purple dresses.
You'd have to go to the late 90s fucking like and find like a Marilyn Manson ad or something like
yeah,
that.
right.
So,
they're my least favorite.
Wear those fucking those contacts and shit with like the fucking string hair.
But the one bummer of the whole situation was that you couldn't undress this doll. It was sewn on. Because that maybe could explain my fetish of leaving. I like to leave a little bit of attire on.
Yeah, you know what? I'm that way too. I do like that. For some
I like
reason.
to like rip the collar down and whip the boob out the top a little bit. Kind of into that.
Yeah, maybe, I guess.
But then you're destroying clothes, so you might catch a little flack for that.
Whatever. Depending on the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
I do kind of, you know what I am? I'm the kind of guy who likes to leave the brassiere on for a while and then maybe mid fucking thing, then take it off. It's like a little present that you wait to unwrap until like maybe after you eat breakfast after Christmas morning, it's things are winding down, but then all of a sudden excitement happens again.
I get that.
I like that. So I agree with that. I do remember. Now you got me fucking
questioning your own psyche.
No. Just admitting all this fucking shit from when I was a kid.
Let it out.
But you brought up the thing from taking the clothes off. I remember having and I don't know who it was, but I remember having an action figure, and it was probably Thundercats.
Those things always get naked.
Thundercats or He-Man or something like that, but it was a woman. And I remember going out of my way to I think I was playing with it, and I realized that because you know how they were all just wearing
that cheetah chick.
It might have been, yeah, it might have been. But you know how they're all just wearing short shorts and they're superheroes, so you saw their skin and their muscles or whatever, and they would always have that thing. And I think I realized that her shorts were coming off, the plastic was separating, and to me as a child, again, probably, who knows, 6-7 years old or something like that, I got really excited at the fact that I might see what was underneath this. And I remember going out of my way and finding a way to jimmy it open and then real excited. And then all it was just that black wire tube, you know what I mean? Or whatever. And I was disappointed. Yeah. I don't know what I thought I was going to see, you know what I mean? But
hey, that could explain the whole leaving the bra on for a present.
Maybe.
Or fear of taking the bra off and seeing just black wire tits.
Which I have seen a few.
Wiry boobs.
Actually, not black. That's your thing.
Yeah, no, not black. Just a little dark. little mocha.
We are when it comes to women, probably the exact opposite. It's weird, because we grew up with each other. We can I say this to the audience?
Say whatever you want.
I was in the room when you lost your virginity.
Yes, you were. Absolutely.
The first time you ever had sex, I was in the room.
Damn, so you were there for every single thing in my life.
Yeah, pretty much every single fucking thing. But growing up and going through that and running through groups of girls together and doing all the shit that we did when we were younger, you think all right, we would have some sort of. But we don't. When your idea of an attractive woman and my idea of attractive woman are two completely polar opposite things. It's very
but maybe that has something to do with it, so we would never step on each other's toes.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
I mean, we are Eskimo bros. We are Eskimo bros, but we've never stepped on toes.
Yeah, it is true. That is very true. It's hard not to be Eskimo bros coming from a small town.
Exactly.
We were,
exactly. But I'm not. I don't think I'm Eskimo bros with anyone else in our crew.
Dude, can I tell you something? I found out later that my ex-fiance Carla, her older brother, who's a cool ass dude. I dig him.
Your Eskimo bros with your fiance's older brother?
Twice.
Double bros?
Twice. One of them isn't Carla, I promise.
Oh God.
But yeah, twice. I figured through conversation and figuring out who he was, because he's like a year or two older than me, kind of ran in some of the same circles, but we were never friends or whatever. And just figuring out who he was and then doing the math and like thinking about it and then like talking to him and him like bringing up a name, I realized that yes, we are.
One I just know. I know we're not going to talk names on the air, but one I just know.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter, but I thought that was pretty interesting.
That is interesting.
So
keeping it in the fam.
Yeah, that was great. Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't matter now, so
yeah,
who gives a shit? Mm-hmm. But yeah. Well,
so we got the Christmas party coming up. Are you going to go? Right?
What?
Oh, because she said she's not, so you're definitely going, right?
I believe I'm going, yeah.
When is it again?
It is, I don't know if they want all this on the air, but I think it's December 20th.
Oh, it's closer to Christmas.
Yeah, because next Saturday is the Ghetto Kid show, which we'll be at.
True, yeah.
And then after that is the Christmas party.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
some things coming up. We might have some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, maybe. Besides having to go to fucking dolls. Although I wouldn't mind.
I've wanted to tell that for a while now. I need to get it off the old.
No, I know.
chest.
You're excited. You actually, just to pull down the fourth wall a little bit, you wanted to tell that story last episode, and then we started bullshitting and went through a whole episode, and then you were upset afterwards that you didn't get to tell your doll fucking story.
Holy shit.
I was like, Richie, why are you disappointed? And you're like, I didn't get to tell my doll story.
It's so funny because doing this, it definitely like gets a lot off your chest and it helps a lot, but man, am I realizing what a piece of shit I am.
Oh yeah, totally.
Big time.
Yeah. And it'll keep coming, Like when you have people on Twitter telling you what a piece of shit you are, and and you're just like, oh yeah, you're right. You know what I mean?
Oh man, this episode is gonna they're coming out of the woodwork.
I'm just worried about it. Now I gotta fucking sleep with one eye open because we have an arch nemesis trying to take down the AHI5.
I know.
So
you don't play.
Do you want to give a little sandwich update?
It's going great.
Yeah,
it's going great.
Everything's level, no fall offs or anything like that.
What do you mean by fall offs?
Well, like no, you're keeping it consistent towards your goal.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, there's no major. Because I'm gonna be honest, you scared me today. I was texting you with ideas for the show. I started texting you like around noontime.
Oh yeah, I definitely slept all day today.
Yeah. Well, you gotta understand where I'm coming from when that happens because I'm like, fuck, like has he disappeared? Like has he fallen back into shit? Is he alive? Like like I fucking
But even if the worst thing happened, you would still hear from me. That was just I was up all night, with my girlfriend, and I just didn't go to sleep at a normal time, so I just slept all day. And like my room was cold when I woke up, and was too lazy to get up and shut the window, and blah blah blah.
No, I get it. That's fine. I'm just saying from my point of view, when I'm texting you, like, oh, I got this idea for the show. I got this idea for the show. Mm-hmm. What time are we meeting up and stuff like that? And then I don't hear from you for like 4 or 5 hours. Then I start like thinking like, oh fuck, like
I don't blame you for thinking that, but just know that you'll always hear from me.
Right.
I'm not the disappearing type. I'll never. Because
I don't know. You used to disappear back in the band days sometimes.
That was something else.
You'd pull some fucking.
That was something else.
Yeah, but there.
I had to keep that secretive, and
I don't even know what you're talking about. But there was times where we would have we'd all be at band practice, and you just wouldn't show up, and so
that was something else.
Okay, well,
that was before I was even into the sandwich.
I know. I'm just saying that isn't your character. It's happened before, whatever the reason may be. Mm-hmm. And I'm not coming down on you. I'm just saying.
I understand. Yeah. I would feel the same way.
Right? Exactly.
I didn't deal with a derm virgin like myself.
So I guess I got to mention the review thing again. If you're listening, if you haven't listened to us, you know what we're doing, which is called the 100 review party, which is once we have 100 written reviews on iTunes, then we are going to throw a party, and everybody's going to be invited. And at that party, Richard is going to yet again drink a live goldfish, but this time he promises to throw it back up while it's still alive, which I don't know if that's humanly possible or not, but I'm taking your word for it.
It will happen. It will happen.
And that is once we get 100 written reviews on iTunes. Everyone's doing a great job. I think we're still under 30. I don't know. We're floating around 30 or something
nice.
like that. Yeah, no, it's great. We've only been talking about this for a few episodes. We really appreciate everybody. I went yesterday to the post office, which was a weird adventure because it was like I almost forgot how to mail shit. Like I had these envelopes with stickers in them and addresses
took your
on
DeLorean
them.
in there.
Yeah, and I fucking walked up to the lady and I was like, I'd like stamps for these. Like I didn't know what to do.
Still got those?
And
one stamp, $3.
And she was like, I had multiple. She was like, do you want 5 stamps or would you rather just buy like a book of stamps? And I was like, well, how many stamps do I need? And she just looked at me and she was like, 1 stamp, motherfucker. What are you talking about? Like, I didn't know. I had no, I don't know how it works anymore. It was very weird. So, but anyway, the point of that is, to anybody who left a review and then emailed me and gave me your address, I sent out your stickers. And
that's cool.
If anybody, does leave a review, all you have to do is email me at awkwardhigh5podcast@gmail.com, or you could hit us up on our Facebook page, or you could even hit us up on Twitter. At awkwardhi, the number 5, and say, hey, Dev, wrote a review, want some stickers, and I'll send them out to you. Cool. That's the whole thing. So you get stickers. Hopefully we'll get this party going and all that stuff. But I just want to thank everybody who's really been supporting the show. And it's been growing and growing and growing and growing, which is very, very cool. And what's up with episode 2? Isn't that weird?
I don't know. I went back and listened to it, and let me tell you, man, we do not sound good. I feel like we've evolved like that. It did not take long.
Well, I mean, literally,
it sounds like we're shy with each other almost.
Well, we didn't know what we were doing. This is the first time we've ever done this. Episode 2, was literally the second hour that we ever sat across from each other and talked into microphones and tried to make an entertaining show. And at that point, we were still trying to establish who we are and what our thing is and all, our lineages and all that stuff. So I won't. I've listened to those episodes. I will never go back and listen to those episodes.
Yeah, don't. I was depressed. I was like, man, I want to take these off the site. I don't even want people to hear these things.
Well, no, they need to be there. And you know what? And from what I've heard from people, unless they're just blowing smoke up our asses, that they they thought they were fine. People don't see it the way we see it because we're creating this,
Yeah, it's like when you write your own song.
Yeah, right.
It's
exactly.
Like, I don't want to play that song tonight. Everyone's like, play the fucking.
Well, it's like I listened back to these stupid songs that I wrote when I was 14 years old, and I can't. It's hard for me to listen to.
Really? Because now when I listen to it, I'm like, damn, I wish we could still write that way.
But then people say to me like, I love that song, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
It's hard to evaluate what you're doing if you're the person doing it.
Oh, of course.
But for some reason, I don't know why, episode 2 is the most listened episode out of all of our episodes.
Still is, huh?
Yeah, still is. It's pretty interesting. And I don't know why. And like,
maybe people want to see what we've stolen as a band because it says Band of Thieves or like those fucking bad. They take anything from me. Let's see if I can hear it.
Maybe that's what it is. I thought that the episode where it says Richie saves a baby's life, like I thought that would be.
That was
and for a while it was
bit,
because I think people were like, what was going on with that or whatever. I should have never started with the fucking Oxford comma titles.
Why? I love that.
Two. I know, but every time we do an episode, like tonight,
because you have to decide.
I'm gonna be mixing this episode. I'm gonna be like, I'm just now it's gonna be like whatever. I didn't even know Arch Nemesis, Scott Weiland, and Richie fucks a doll. You know what I mean?
That's probably it.
Yeah,
there it is.
Probably is.
Work is done.
I thought that was like cute and clever when I started doing it. Now I'm like, fuck, I should just have one word things.
No, that's good.
Another thing I wanted, since I'm burning through technical stuff here at the end of the show, another thing I wanted to put out there is that we've had 2 guests on the show before. One was my brother who's always invited in. He's not
probably one of my favorite episodes.
He's not even really a guest. I mean, he's just, if he's here, he could come in.
Take the hang. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Still one of my favorites.
And then I guess the more official one would be John Cabrera, who we had on a few episodes ago, who actually is a musician and had something to plug and stuff like that. And I know some of the feedback that I've gotten, and I appreciate it from you guys, is that their mics were low during that, and I totally understand. Believe me, I went back and I hated listening to those episodes because those mics are low. But we are now in the process of upgrading our AHI5 studio to be able to take on more guests, which will be coming soon. So
after we fix the window.
Yeah, right, of course.
Yeah.
And if you do come, bring a coat because it's cold, because our arch nemesis broke this fucking window. But if you do want to be a guest on the Awkward Hi-Fi program, I'm putting that out there now, starting now. I don't know officially what days. We record twice. We record on Tuesdays and we record on Fridays. Fridays would be the day that we would take guests. And I don't know exactly like what time period we're going to start, but we're starting to get all those gears in motion right now. So if you do want to be a guest on our program, email us again at awkwardhi5podcast@gmail.com.
We could always make a few adjustments for accommodation.
Yeah,
as far
right,
as
right.
Time, you know.
I'm more worried about sound.
Right.
Once basically what it comes down to anyone who cares, and I'm sure you don't, is we just need to get a bigger mixer.
Yeah.
You know, this mixer was really only set up for 2 of us, and I had to jerry rig it to get more mics, and it wasn't working right. So once I'm going to get a bigger mixer, we'll have mics, all the levels will be great, and then we could finally have, which is what we want to do, is have people first, start coming in. But, we do want people... We want, people who are making stuff, people who have stuff to plug. You know,
exactly.
So if you're out there and you're a musician or you're a comedian or you're an artist or whatever you do, and you want to be on our show to promote your stuff and more than just promote your stuff, hang out and be cool and be able to talk for an hour with us or whatever. Mm-hmm. We would definitely like to have you. So we could kind of open that up and start trying to figure that out for everybody. And that's basically it. You have anything else you want to say, Richard?
No, I pretty much spilled all the beans. I'm drained out.
Yeah.
Let the judgment fly.
Yeah, I hear that. You had any good plans for this weekend?
This weekend? No, actually, just going to chill and can't wait for the Get Up Kids. That's what I'm excited
Well, that's
for.
next weekend. We'll have 2 more shows before that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got nothing to do, so.
If anybody out there is going to the Get Up Kids concert at Starland Ballroom on December 12th, we will be there. Mm-hmm. Come up and if you know what we look like,
yeah, right.
Come up and say hi to us.
We'll have headphones on
and buy us a drink because we're broke.
Yeah, absolutely.
I miss your taste and your see-through clothes.
All right. Thank you for listening to the Awkward High Five podcast. We will see you in a few days from now.
Yep.
On Tuesday. And again, if you want to be a guest on the show, email us. Definitely leave those reviews so we can get Richie to swallow that fish.
Yep. I'm gearing up.
And if you're on Twitter, follow us on Twitter so that we could start getting more conversations going pre-show, get people more involved in the show and all that stuff.
And if your kids have any hot dolls, send us a picture.
Any straw-haired dolls or anything. Richie's trying to... Is that what it was? A yarn-haired?
Yarn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
White yarn.
Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you with the straw hair.
Don't mess with my girl.
But send Richie a bunch of pictures so he can get off to it because he's a degenerate bastard. All right, we'll talk to you next time.
Hey lover, where did you go? I'm not high and I'm not low. If I knew a breakup, man, I can't break you up and taste you again. With love, with breath, wanna smoke you up. Even though my chest hurts, smoke you up. Get more pain, less, wanna smoke you up. Inhale my best and I'm out of love. With love, with breath, wanna smoke you up. Even though my chest hurts, smoke you up. Get more pain, less, wanna smoke you up. Inhale my best and I'm out of love. Surrounded by seeds, I'm lost in the tree.
Thanks for listening to the Awkward High Five podcast. For more episodes, visit awkwardhigh5.com.